that means a lot of people working on this out there,
Oh,
probably.
I see, this is your son.
Right, more than we estimated it
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah, so anything over the right column is more than 100%, obviously that's doing well. Well, anything really above 75% is better than planned. The consumer rent line, 1000-541-0000, consumer rent, that's our garage rents. That's like the cell phone tower rent. Those are our rentals other than apartments, and that's doing well, it's at 104%.
And that is a huge improvement
Mm-hmm.
from when you arrived.
Yeah, that's $52,000
That we lost,
that
or
James
blew off.
wasn't interested in.
Mhm.
Bulk sales, what's bulk sales? Oh, 000, but that doesn't matter. Something we don't do, but we
Yeah, I
it
don't
is
think
a-
Maybe was it the compost or mulch bill?
Oh, yes.
Oh, probably.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Mhm. Are we going to resurrect that? No?
Well, what if, if the
Yeah,
park
that's the
district
park.
gets in there and,
Right.
we're gonna be forced to it. I don't know if we're supposed to share some cost of somebody coming in there and processing and stuff into mulch,
Mm-hmm.
And turning
then
it
we're gonna need
Yeah,
to
that
be in
might
business
present an
selling it
opportunity
too.
to do that.
Mhm.
That might present an opportunity to do that.
A lot of people really use that, really,
Mhm.
really like it.
Well, I think we're gonna be forced into it because, they're gonna, by contract, we have to share the cost of the, what do they call that thing that processes, there was a name of it,
Yeah,
some device that you have to come in and.
Oh, the grinder, tough grinder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. But so, by contract, we gotta share the cost of it.
Mhm.
I guess based on how much of the waste is theirs versus how much of the waste is theirs, and then how that works.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then, if they start selling it, we should probably get the same percentage of the cost we get to pay for the grinder, we should be getting that percentage
Oh, absolutely.
of the revenue.
yeah, sure.
Who's gonna monitor that? Who's gonna be selling that?
I don't know. It will work out
Well,
someday.
if they get in there and they get the stub grinder and they gotta take that stuff and they're gonna use it over there, they're not really gonna be paying for it. I mean, it's, how's that gonna
Yeah,
work?
there's a good chance they might want to use it in their parks. They could
Oh, I'm
all send
sure
us
they
in
do.
Well, if they're
there.
gonna use it all in
Yeah.
the park, then
We
why should we pay
so-
for part of this grinder
Yeah.
cost? That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I guess and that might be one possibility. I'm a little concerned about that, but certainly just to do it on our own, aside from that, even
Yeah.
issues that we need a person who could be driving, the bulldozer and turning the pile and stuff, and that's just
No.
something we
But if,
can't do right now. But yeah, there might be a way through that joint effort to work
Now,
that
in
out.
conversations with those guys, once this thing actually starts getting rolling, they haven't really done any construction over here, have they?
No, they haven't. Well, they haven't.
Well, they come in and want to talk about anytime about what we're doing there, I think we ought to make it clear that, number one, we don't really want to be in the mulch sale business. I guess we might use some of it around our beds. If it's all
well,
good.
you might talk to David to see how big a deal it was. I don't think it was that big of, it wasn't a heavy weight on our personnel, I don't think. I mean, people would call and say, hey, can I have half of a truck of mulch? And they'd come and dump it on your driveway.
Mhm.
And whenever it was convenient. I mean, it wasn't like, oh yeah, let me take the orders. And I know everybody blanches and says, oh gosh, we don't want to do that. But I think the residents liked it, and I don't think it was a big deal.
Mhm.
We had it.
Yeah,
Well, we
my
can deal
discussions
with that as
with,
it
We
comes. I
suck
just
up.
want to make sure we don't
Yeah, we suck
get
up
the
all those
wrong end of the
leaves.
stick on this stub grinder. Is it
Mhm.
stub grinder?
tub
Tub
grinder.
Tub,
Tub grinder.
yeah.
And again, for the immediate, I think the biggest issue is that, it was gonna require a staff person who would be available, a certain number of hours a week to turn the pile.
Mhm.
And they have to do that for like a year before you've got it just right where people can come and get it or redeliver it, or whatever.
Once they had it started, it wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
To start it new again, because we let it go.
Yeah, and then quite frankly, we don't have much staff, so for them to stop and be making deliveries
Mhm.
could be tough. sure we could find a way to work it out.
Yeah. We'll find out,
Think hard,
you know.
long and hard on that one before we start that.
Hmm.
But again, that might present an opportunity, so we'll,
Yeah, because I understand,
Keep
I
that in
think there
mind.
was some conversation, that those things are not cheap to rent,
no, they are not,
they're very pricey to rent.
they certainly are.
Well, if we're gonna pay
Thousands
for
of
it.
dollars.
Yeah, if we
Yeah,
pay for some
we
of it,
better-
then we're gonna get some of this.
Yeah.
We have so little opportunity to generate revenue, I hate missing
Yeah,
it.
that's a
Something.
good point.
So really, after reviewing the revenue and the appropriation status and going over to that right-hand column on both reports and the year-to-date percentage received, that's where that leads into the supplemental appropriations, the next handout that I gave you. And so we need to make some changes, and here in this whole, ordinance, we're not appropriating any more money than we had before, we're just reallocating. We're just moving money from one line to another to get us through, where we need money to pay bills for the end of the year. And so, in the general fund there at the top, go ahead, if you have any questions?
Well, clerk of courts, is it, that was a salary, and there was money allocated, why did we miss that?
Well, I'll tell you what happened there, it's not that the salary changed, but we had, 3 times now we had to pay for training.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Court expenses were lower than anticipated.
And that engineering services, Yvonne, to answer your question earlier, that was paid out of, professional.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
Oh, that was on, that was a zero, we couldn't understand what happened to it in the previous report.
it was paid out of professional expenses, is that the name of it? Yeah,
Okay.
professional services line item. So we have that money available to move. Then the law director, the costs were way down for that, so we have money available there that we can move around.
Big chunk to PERS.
Yeah, I can't understand what happened there because,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a percentage, but it's not, the percentage is not proportionate to the amount of salaries that are there. So I don't really know why that happened or how it happened, but at this point, it is immediate. I need money in PERS line item to get them paid. So that's an immediate need.
What could that maybe have to do with
The retirement?
the changing, all the shuffling around and such? Well, that would have
Yeah, I
increased
don't
that.
know.
I'm not sure, that was a short.
Yeah,
I see, would think logically with what's going on labor-wise, that
Right. It's been a little bit of a crazy, very crazy year staffing wise because again, this first 3 months of the year were kind of on their own budget. Then we had an appropriation where money was put into other accounts, so some might have been charged during these first few months where they weren't anticipated to be for the year. That's some of it, but then others, I don't know, we'll just have to take a closer look, I guess, and see why we didn't hit that one right.
just as an aside, back when the ball season was still going, I was up there talking to Mike one night when I was up there for the ball game, watching some ball games, and we were just talking about that. And he's a friend, we go a couple races together and all that stuff. It's Kim's son-in-law. Anyway, we were talking, and he was talking about labor and all that. He said, to be honest, he said, I don't really claim a lot of the hours I spend up here. I may come up, be here all night, but I only turn in 2, 3, 4 hours maybe sometimes. I come up here for 2, 3 hours and don't turn anything in. I said, well, Mike, you
to-
know what was going on, but also to, if he did see an increase, that he's not cheating. I told him,
No,
No,
yeah,
and
he's still giving us the benefit of the doubt, to tell you the truth.
I understand there's times when he's not working, that's one thing, but otherwise, yeah, he needs to be turning in his hours.
Mhm.
That's what I told him.
For it,
I said, I
absolutely.
know you're trying to do the favor for the village, and
Um,
he said, I kinda look on this as volunteer, and I said, well, that's good. I mean, you know, you can factor that in, but you need to get your hours somewhere close, because if, you know, he may not be here forever, and, you know, we need to know, kinda have some kind of legitimate information about what it costs to manage this place, so.
And that
He
is
needs to be paid
happening
the
at
hours
this
he
point.
works, yeah.
and that's happening.
I told him the same thing, you know, I had a talk once, about 3 weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago, I told him the same thing.
You know, down under the apartment there, you'll see what Kim and I were talking about on the 100,000, we're tapping into that to, appropriating new monies.
We
It's
don't,
gonna happen sooner or later, so.
we don't have any money, I mean, we
Right.
don't have unappropriated funds available, so we don't have a choice there. And that's why, when you ask me if there's anything I'm concerned about, that's why that department would be the answer.
Well, the police pension and PERS is two big hits, and
Yeah. But it's not like, it's not new, you know, it's not unappropriated monies, we're just moving from one line item to another, so that's, you know, the net effect there is zero.
he talked about taking the 22.5.
Yes. Yeah, the negative 22.5. And then we're moving it. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the general fund, about the Ohio Police and Fire pension.
Repairs and maintenance, are we having more than we anticipated, more than we, any surprises there?
You know, not really, no.
Okay.
And then spoiled ball field, same thing, I just need to move things around a little bit to get the bills paid, make sure I can pay them hopefully through the end of the year, but, I just took some money away from the beer line since the season is done and closed, and we had some available money there, we're just deducting that, moving that, you know, spreading that out between the utilities, and then I put a little in operating supplies in case, you know, a bill, because once in a while, like, he's gotta fill the propane tanks, or, you know, there are things that happen there even after the season ends, so I wanted to have some money available in operating supplies to do that. And then, of course, sales tax is always a month behind with them, so I need to have some money available there for that. But again, the net effect there is zero, we're not appropriating any new money. And in the banquet hall, we're just moving 5,000 from capital over to utilities to make sure we can cover our utility needs through the end of the year. So it's just moving things around.
How much of that do you feel is due to being kind of new, you know, and both of you getting a better feel, a better handle? This is now your decisions, you're fully on your own, so to speak now. And it takes a while to get into that cycle, doesn't it? I mean, I'm assuming it does.
Yeah, I'm not there, I mean, I'll be completely honest,
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Every day I learn something new, and, you know, I'm still kind of in the mode where I'm learning bits and pieces, and I'm still trying to put the whole picture together in my mind, and, you know, that takes a little bit of time.
Right.
I'm not there yet, and I'm on, you know, I'm just doing and learning as much as I can every day. And
But, you know, it's really one of those things that you just, from our experiences, you have it in your mind of a certain way that it should be.
Right.
That's probably different than the way that it was, so getting it from that way to our way, so it makes total sense to us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's, yeah.
We're getting there.
Well, and that's why I'm thinking,
Very
that
well.
this is a very big transition year in financial management and management of so on. So, I think anytime you take on a new job, until you go through a whole cycle, you know, a whole year or a whole 3 years, whatever it is for that business, it takes a while to get it all in hand.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why you'll see more breakdowns from us, because to us, that helps us to break
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Where was it, where is it, where do we want it, you know, so just,
Yeah.
Where
don't
should
mean
it
to
be?
load you with
Yeah.
detail, but
Yeah, some
No.
of
that's
the,
what we're working
some
through
of
to
the
try to
previous
figure
reports,
it out.
based upon what I see, they were just, lumped together as totals.
Mhm.
And Yvonne and I are on the same page as where we like to see that broke down,
Mhm.
because we don't, someone who's been here for many years can look at that and know exactly what's included in that lump
Right.
sum, and we don't.
Right.
So we're breaking things down.
Well, which is more helpful to council too.
Well, that's a problem I always had,
Yeah.
When I first started in council, Kathy spent like 2 hours explaining this with me, and I'll be honest with you, after 30 minutes, it was just, there was nothing going in.
Well,
I couldn't
she
absorb
worked on
it.
automatic pilot. I mean,
Mhm.
because all of her, so much of it was intuitive
Mhm.
and, understood all these things from the past history, and she would just maneuver them around and knew how to handle it, but.
Mhm.
Well, if you get into a situation where you're having difficulty sorting something out or allocating something or understanding how something is working, call Kathy. I mean, I'm sure
Oh, I
she
call
would.
her today. I do.
Oh, you do that,
And,
okay.
yeah, and she's very good about, call me anytime you get stuck and you wanna
Okay.
know, and I do.
I know you want to be independent, you want to feel like you're doing your job, and I don't think that,
I have no
I don't think
problem
those are two
asking
mutually
questions.
exclusive
Yeah,
issues
I have no
there,
problem. And I
You do your
use-
job, and if you can save you some time, that's good for all of us.
I use Kathy and I call her, and I also called Dorothy from Springfield Township, who
Mhm.
was my manager there, because I know she knows her stuff too, and so I get on the phone a lot and ask questions, and I'm
Good.
not
Great.
afraid
I'm
to
glad
do
you're
that.
good.
I would rather do that than make a mistake and
Good.
regret it later, so.
Right.
And then I think as we move into the appropriation, that's where, again, there was that year, there's 3 months of temporary, so we had our final this past year. But I think now that we have the opportunity to put all of that together,
Mhm.
now we will know where everything is being charged, because we will have,
You finally own it.
Mhm.
You finally
Yeah.
own it.
And you made the decision
so
about
that's,
how to allocate
won't be any
funds.
guessing like, wow, well, I guess that's what happened,
Yeah,
we'll know.
yeah.
Because we
Good.
will have put it there and, doing the
Okay.
calculations.
Well, I just wanted you to know that we know, and I agree with Bud, that, boy, never hesitate to ask.
Yeah,
on
no,
it,
I
and, no problem.
Let's see, that's actually a new line item, that's, well, how would we say that, current?
I like your month, I like this.
I got that from Dorothy. I called Dorothy at Springfield Township and I said, I need just a good way to just summarize
That
things,
is
just
good.
a nice cover sheet.
It is.
So so we talked about it, and she uses something similar to that, so.
I had not seen that, I like it.
Things, and Kathy didn't agree with me on this, and I don't know how many, maybe Chris didn't either, but I always like to see comparisons between the budget and actual, where we're tracking sometime during the year, maybe quarterly or something, budget versus actual. And also, 2011 versus 2010. I like to see where we're tracking.
Compared to last.
Now, you're moving funds around, so it's probably gonna be
It'll be a little confusing, but
relevant,
we'll
you're a
just know
little
where
more
we do
confusing,
that.
but still, I think it gives us a feel
I agree.
for where we are year to date, where we are versus the budget.
Mhm.
And then I think would probably help the budget process for next year too.
Mhm.
If you got some tracking reports and things. Okay, where are we? Discuss possible yearly priority events calendar for council. I sent that out to you, and then Yvonne and I had a very short email discussion
Yeah.
about that, or did we talk about it?
I can't remember.
But anyway, we discussed it one way or the other, and she's already working on that.
Well, yeah, what I've started doing is just jotting down, and I haven't, there's some activities that are annual activities. I mean, it's crude, and then I'm gonna have it put together on a spreadsheet, with items that can go forward. But I'm putting everything from events that I know the community has, like Light Up Greenhills, to, you know, like our community development block grant, and when you first get the paperwork, and when it's gonna be due, and then when we should start appropriations, and when that's due, the tax budget, you know, those are the kind of things I have on there so far. Yeah, still needs a lot of work, but what I do is I think of something, I jot it down.
That's good.
So, you know, if you're all thinking of things too, maybe you could jot them down, and then we could just make sure they all get onto the same,
Well, it's kind of tough, it was fun, thought about this a little bit more, Bill, a little bit more after we talked. There's kind of two categories. There's kind of the, for lack of a better term, the public calendar. You know, the 9/11 ceremony,
events.
Events.
you know, other
Right.
events, things are going around. The concert on the Commons, maybe they have that whole thing. Jim Miller gets that put together pretty timely. I don't know if he has it done by
February or
June.
March.
Yeah, by February, March, he's got that together. You know, if we could kind of incorporate all the events we have going on, including concert on the Commons, and, you know, some of these things have to change, or could change by weather, or could, you know, we don't even know if we're gonna have the festival or not, or if that's gonna change, if the format change, or what's gonna happen with that. But, you know, everything we can, put it together. But I think we also need something that we can use to not miss dates, not
Right.
miss deadlines. Remind us that there's things at this time of the year, we need to do this, or,
I think there's three. There's the event calendar, I mean, these would overlay each other, but there's, you know, just the events and so on. There's also financial, that's, you know, budget finance, when things are due, you know, the whole tax cycle, the, of income and the flow of money,
Right.
you know, so there's that overlay. And included in that would be grants, money coming in, or deadlines for grants that you want to go after and so on. And then the other one is just a business, you know, the business operations of the village. And there's a cycle to that as far as even, you know, even the leaf pickup and just all the things that the pressures on the service department, the pressures on everybody, you know, so that to me, there's three overlays there.
The auditor of
Business,
state's
finance,
office prints very nice, they're kind of large desk calendars, but they print really nice, financial type calendars that give you deadlines that we can get for free, we just need to call the auditor's office and order them, so
Do it.
maybe that's a
If
good
that's
starting.
helpful.
Mhm.
I like them because I can, you know, write down, it's big enough that you have a spot to write down, you know, what you need to do. But
Right.
it already has the pre-printed deadlines for any of, you know, the financial deadlines, when the
Mhm.
appropriations are due, when the budget's due and stuff like that, and that's helpful.
I think that would be excellent.
I wonder if any communities around here have already done that.
Well, I don't know, but you know, the other thing I'm thinking of some other things, like not leases, but, agreements that we have. I'm thinking like our mats, we're in a 5-year agreement on mats.
Yeah.
So,
Contracts.
yeah, things like that, I'm
Contracts.
trying to keep track of those as well. But I do wanna back up then on the events, on our new website, there will be a great calendar, and when you click on the event, it'll give you a description of the event and the address, and then it'll even, you click on, a map, it'll give you a map, and a picture,
So good.
of where it is you're going.
Mhm.
Oh, so the events are gonna be on a calendar on the website?
Yes.
Good.
We were gonna do
Well, I
the
don't think we need
calendar.
anything beyond that, really.
No,
As far as
and-
our use, when that,
Yeah.
it gets down to kind of infrastructure
Mhm.
deadlines and things like that. Like, that's when I said I said something about multi-year. Well, maybe I made note, I just made a note to myself on that. That's what I was thinking of, multi-year, like when, I don't know, I can't remember what the term of our energy contract, and, you know, all those contracts, we need
Right.
to stay
Yeah,
out.
The business kind of stuff, that's a little bit more what I'm focusing on.
Mhm.
But then there's big events that I know I need to do something, I'll put those on my calendar too, but.
You know somebody else is worrying about them.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be great, will be
Would
Well,
these calendars be worthwhile for council members to have or not?
Yeah.
The finance?
I think there's nice, like, desk pad kind of calendars.
I was just thinking if it would help them
Yeah.
get on board too, as far as.
That's what I'm
because
thinking of,
council
it's a tool for
changes
council,
too,
really,
yeah.
a tool for all of us.
And
Yeah.
if something's not pre-printed on that calendar, I mean, it's perfect to,
You can
you know,
write your
there's a
own.
square, so you
Sure.
can write, and that's, yeah, it's a
That-
wonderful
I think that'd be
organizational
good.
tool,
Yeah,
yes.
I wanna
Okay.
have something developed, and then that'll be a dynamic instrument, you know, it's gonna
Mhm.
change year to year,
Mhm.
when we do things, and I think maybe some things aren't even being done the next year, and things like that, so. You know, with, all this stuff, when the poll's up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the only thing is with those desk calendars, in the past, and I could be wrong about this, but it is off the top of my head, I'm thinking, we never get those by January 1st. For some reason, there's always a lag, even if you order them in December, you don't get them, you know, to start off the first of the year, but we can
Well-
get them.
Yeah.
Like Franklin planners, you know, you can get those starting any month you want.
Yeah, right.
So we could do the same thing, we could have a calendar that starts in March and goes from March of, let's say, 2012 to March of 2013, rather than, you know, I mean, we'll do the calendar and submit it every March instead of in January.
Well, let's see what they do. I mean, if they hit the deadline, you get it by the end of January, you can still go the calendar year.
Well, that would be better.
Yeah, it would be, but you adjust as you need to.
And it's not, yeah, they offer them for free, so that's nice.
That'd be great. Mm.
I'll check on communities, see if any communities have done this already, and maybe might be able to pick up something from one. If they've been around for 4 or 5 years, they probably could
Sure.
help us track forward on this pretty quick. And the website will have all the activity, events calendar on it.
Mhm.
When's that, gonna happen, or is that new website?
Should happen very soon. We are so close to having there's like pages in certain sections, and we're pretty close to having something on every page.
Okay.
Obviously, it's gonna always be a work in progress as we get more information or want to change, perspective or something, but we're striving to have something on every single page, and I would say within the next 3 weeks, probably.
Okay.
And we're gonna be able to manage it internally?
Yes, super simple.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, anything else on that? Capital improvement plan,
Okay.
we haven't talked about that yet, I don't think.
No, we haven't. Here we have a couple. This is basically the same information that we had the last time. I've updated, the format's updated, and there are some numbers that are differently, and I've added some codes that relate to possible sources of funding, but I can tell you there's still more work to be done on it, but each time there's a little bit more, and I think this will probably be one of the things that we take a close look at either the finance or the work session, where we're going to include probably the work session, because as we get into that, that's where we're going to really start looking at, well, what items do we really have to fund next year, and what can we afford and stuff. So
I like your breakout, I like the.
well, thank you. If you remember, I had it in a little bit different format, and then I put it into this format because this is the one the Ohio Public Works Commission requires every year when you apply for funding, so I thought we might as well
Why, we're,
kill two birds with one stone here.
yeah,
And I still have all of our bonding requirements and stuff in the back, the payments, the leases, the information that we need.
Oh, yeah, it's got
Are still
funded
part of
in
it, so.
plans, so.
mhm, that's good.
I'll get some totals in there, and when I'm looking at it, I just can't figure out where to do every time I look at it, add or change something, so
Yeah. Is
I'll
Mo-
get you
is
some
Mo-
totals as soon as it makes sense to me where I should, yes?
Is Molly's Drive, Malloy's
Oh,
Drive?
yes, it is.
I just wondered, you call it Molly?
Yeah.
I do
Oh,
not
there,
there.
oh, there it is, sorry about that.
When you say street program, the first two line items there, what does that mean? What is it? Is that resurfacing, or is it?
Yeah,
It's redoing?
some
the-
type of rate, and I just took some things that were, Winton Road,
Or is that
work on that
the,
little by
storm
little
sewers?
phases. Storm sewer, actually, did I put the storm sewers on here? Because I do want to put some things that we've already done from this year. If that's not on here, what I put it on here to give us some historic looks, historic data to work from in the future, so I'll have that. Now, this would be over a period of time improving all of Winton Road. The one that I did stick in there, I think this might be since we met last, I can't remember, but Andover and Cromwell with the Waterworks project, Brandstetter had originally projected a $70,000 cost, which I didn't think we could afford to do the rest of Andover and Cromwell. But I talked to the contractor that they selected and asked him for a better estimate, and he said it should be more like $10,000 to $12,000 to finish. It would be one lane of Andover, and I think it's just the intersection area. I'll have to go back and look. Might be the other way around. Anyway, the contractor's bidding 10 to 12,000. So at that price, I think we should do it, because our ability to handle that street, if we only do, they will be paving half of the street, but there'll be a break. So over time, over the winters, water will seep in, that'll crack up, and our ability to afford the whole restoration of those streets, I don't see that in the foreseeable future. So I think that'd be a heck of a deal to get the entire streets done, repaved.
Oh, GCWW is one.
Yeah, it's Greater Cincinnati Waterworks.
Yeah.
You have pending for Esmond and Malloy's Drive and the parking lot. Have we applied for something?
No,
Or
yeah.
you're trying to figure out how to do it?
That would be, I'm thinking, hopefully that would come with the redevelopment of the area, but I don't know.
They won't be here by 2013. They're in such bad shape.
Like the streets.
As
Oh,
I mean, they're in such bad shape. The potholes,
Yes,
I
they
mean, they're
are,
awful.
actually they are, yeah.
2013 is too far away.
Well, and the other thing I'm doing is talking to contractors that is, as the opportunity arises, I'm seeing if they can do some patching for us, home filling for us.
But the parking lot at the shopping center, even though the shopping center is terrible, I've had so many people say to me, that is a disgrace. The parking lot needs to have something done to it. It's hard on our tires, it looks terrible, and anything else. It's unrelated almost to the shopping center. Everybody knows that we
Well,
own.
it is unrelated in my mind.
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody
just
knows
because
we
we fix
own
a parking lot, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's gonna get off his butt and do anything. I don't
No.
think he'll change anything, but I
Yeah.
think at least we need to fix what we're responsible for when we can.
Yeah, actually, those two should probably be combined.
Which one?
The ones that say
Where do
crack
you-
seal in
I
the
haven't
middle?
found this yet.
They
Oh,
should.
shopping
Yeah.
center, I got it, it's on the
Yeah.
first page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The street program, yeah, that's just hypothetical. If we had a certain amount that we could allocate to streets each year.
Mhm.
fire hydrant replacements. We have some coming because of their current waterworks project, and they're not projecting another project until 2015. That's why you don't see anything out there until then. In the meantime, you know, ongoing repairs, replacements, we fund those. But these would be separate, specific.
I forget where I read this, I read an article, it might have been in Cities and Villages or Villages and whatever, what's that magazine we get every month?
Cities and villages.
Cities and Villages, about the signage, the luminescence of the
Oh,
sign.
yeah, just got an update on that last Friday, I think. They postponed the requirements until 2013. Yeah, however, what I'm gonna have Mike do is any signage we buy, first buy the high intensity, because that's what's required. So if we have to replace something now, replace it with a high intensity. And, you know, we'll track the dates that we're putting it up, so when we get to that point, we're already, you know, keeping our inventory. If it's not too expensive, we'll actually get the stickers that we can put on them that have the dates right on them. But
That's good, I'm glad you're on
Yeah,
top of that, 'cause that's a big dollar, if we let that go,
yes,
that's,
it is.
that's
Yeah,
a lot.
so we might as well just.
So you gotta replace every time, it's little parking, no parking signs, or no parking within 15 feet, they all, the way I read it, they all have to be changed.
Everything.
Ridiculous.
So anyway, we're gonna work our way into that one right now.
Okay.
So actually, I should try to alter that. I think I have that on here somewhere. Oh, yeah, here's what I did with that. That's actually on like the third page. And so I showed 2012, 2000, 2000, and the ramp up in 2014. Because what'll happen in 2013 is where you have to identify your maintenance and your, kind of like your implementation plan for the whole thing. And then by 2014, you have to really be into the, you know, big replacement. So that's why I'm thinking as we do it now, that should help us to not have a huge hit in any one year.
Great.
I can see more catching.
Traffic light, oh, that's what we just did. Okay. Traffic light updates.
Yes.
So the ladder truck lease is up in 2015.
Boy, when we did that, it seemed like it was so far away. Amazing, yeah. You don't have any Cs in here, Yvonne.
Anyway.
Cs, complete, I think you do have a couple complete.
Oh, well, that's why I'm gonna go back and add
Yeah,
some.
you better
And the
add.
sewers, and the other one I jotted down was the Winton Road sidewalk project we just had.
Yeah,
I have to add that on.
so you have, what's this sidewalk program, is this replacement of bad
Yes.
sidewalks? Okay, and, the safety crossing lights we did this year, that could be added as completed.
Well, all those things were paid for.
Oh, we did some catch we did the catch basin
Yeah.
out here, we did some catch basin work. Yeah, because again, I think we can start building that, that
Yeah.
gives us a better
So
look
it
at the
shows-
futures of where we
Yeah,
are.
what you're doing.
So I'll go back and try to catch those things.
So this is good, I mean, as a report, it's good, it's really good. Do you also use this as a reference when you find opportunities, see grants that are applicable and so on? This is kind of your shopping list, okay?
And this is the Public Works Commission, the submittal form, basically, right?
Yes.
It's a good one. We added a new business item, a supplemental appropriation amendment.
Yeah, and we went,
Well, we talked
we
about
did
that.
that,
We did
so,
that.
just it seemed to kind of fit in there as we were talking about
Mhm.
appropriations in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Goals?
I'm trying to, I'm better than I've been in three weeks, I guess, I got back from
I
California.
hear her with the cough all night long.
Oh,
She's,
is this hanging on?
yeah.
This is okay to send to Kathy Lives now.
Um,
You wanna take one look at it?
do you think?
No, I think it's okay, I've reviewed it
Okay.
closely, and I feel like it's fine, so, okay.
Which minutes are you going to keep? We need to review your
Yeah.
new minutes or your old minutes?
Re-review the minutes.
Because we had a couple changes to the other ones you gave us.
I did change the header on this, so I just noticed that. Here's the minutes. Took the agenda.
Oh, yeah, good, is that the one, I have that,
I've got it.
You do?
Thanks.
yeah, thank you.
Is the fee set, schedule should be ready to go to council now, right? Or is it?
I think you wanna maybe,
Well, no,
maybe
we
more
wanna-
work on that?
Yeah.
So maybe at our, maybe
Yeah,
by our.
wanna get the
winter-
NIC stuff maybe in there and stuff?
Possibly, but at least the things we talked about, getting out the news by that
Okay.
November 16th.
Progress, when do you think would be a reasonable completion date on that?
Well, for everything minus the code enforcement, probably you could have on your December agenda. The code enforcement, I don't know, I'm thinking early next year sometime.
When would it be appropriate to, give that to council? That's.
Do you want it for
that's
the work
something we-
session? For them to see it at the work session before you go any further, or not?
Yeah, why don't we do that, why don't we, in December?
November work session.
Well, was there anything on that that you wanted to get together, put together before the November?
It's like 3 weeks from now.
Trying to think of just a couple things that I think. I need to check to see if we have a re-inspection fee to add to the rental.
Oh, yeah.
Indicate the deposit on the street cut permits, and, let's see, come up with the electric charge, an hourly rate for electric charge.
So you want to schedule that for the November work session?
Yes,
Okay. So we have the preliminary
sounds good.
ready for the November, and then, you know, we'll have pretty much fee schedules is about the only thing left to add, right? Okay. I'll send that to Kathy. We call that, what is it, missing on that,
Which thing?
code inspection or
Re-inspection.
NIC?
Oh, inspection fee on the rental inspection program. I'm gonna check to see if we have a
But also NIC's,
Oh, on the code
fees.
enforcement,
Code enforcement, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what she said, it'll
penalty
be
schedule.
early next year,
Mhm.
she makes that known.
First quarter of 12. Okay. All right. Y'all reading the minutes or what are we doing? Okay. Let me know when you're all done.
I read 'em. I didn't see anything.
you know, I guess.
We didn't come up with anything on taxes really, did we?
We did have a discussion as far as Rita before you got here on, yeah, just how tough it would be to identify that. Eventually we'll have access to reports, but our ability to identify if they're related to this grouping of letters,
I just mentioned that we got a $16,000 payment from Rita for the first month for September. But we don't know whether that's related to any letters that went out or anything like that. Right now, we don't have the ability to tell that information, but we will at some point because we'll have access to their system, to the reports. So we'll have access to that at some point. We just don't have access to Rita yet, to their software.
But our year-to-date taxes was, that was an issue on one of these sheets, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're about, it's about 7% below what we thought we would be.
Prior year?
Non-revenue status,
Oh, that's right. I forgot to bring the info, like where we were this time last year.
Yeah, I don't have that information.
We'll look that up.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I'll put that.
Yeah, sorry. Time slipped away from me today.
Just email me or call.
You know, in reading minutes, I'm sorry to digress for a minute, but I did, I let you know that Kim did execute the bi-weekly. We're on that bi-weekly payroll right now, and I think for the most part that went very smooth.
Mhm.
So now a bit of savings, and also the car that we finally sold that car. It had been on, we put it on the.
Oh, that way back?
Yes, we
Yeah.
put it on the Hamilton County. It's kind of a funny story, so I'm gonna tell you. We put it on the auditor's website to sell. The first time we put a minimum bid, because the car runs, and I think we put a minimum bid of like 22 or 23,000 something. Anyway, 100.
Hundred.
And didn't get a single bid. So we put it up again, this time with a bid, a minimum, because you kind of look at the other cars that are up there right now and figure out what it looks like. We put it probably on like 1,000, nothing. I said, I just put it on there, okay? And he did, we sold it for $2,400
Yeah.
or $2,600, but then they take their fee.
Yeah.
So we got, I think, $2,400. So, can you believe
So
it?
you put on there without a price?
Yeah, just bid on it. I think we had 43 bidders on that. So that was fun.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, I guess it is.
What
Anyways,
year was
we sold
it?
that. I want to say 2003. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
2003 Caprice
Crown Victoria.
Crown Vic
Crown Vic, yeah.
with how many miles on it?
Oh, probably a lot. But
But-
it
but
ran.
runs.
It ran.
Just for
So,
something-
anyway,
something
that was
runs.
funny, but we sold it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Now, salaries didn't change
No,
when we went to bi-weekly.
no,
Nobody's-
nobody was impacted. We,
No,
she ran several different scenarios. Nothing was.
I called paychecks on a couple of people, and because there were a couple of people who came to me with that question, you know, thinking that they were actually getting less money, so I called paychecks, had them run a fake payroll showing them what they would have if they were paid weekly and what they would have if they were paid bi-weekly, and, you know, prove to them that nothing has changed. So, yeah, we've checked that.
Because that third of a week, you know, every month, there's 4 1/3 weeks
Yeah,
early every month. And
but we'll be
that
paid
kinda messes
every
with people.
2 weeks,
Right.
not
Yeah.
twice a month,
Right.
every 2 weeks.
Well, every 2 weeks.
Every
Yeah.
2
That's
weeks,
not
not
twi-
twice
okay.
a month.
26 pay periods.
Yes,
Well, that should
26
be a
pay
little
periods.
bit easier for them to figure out. I would think.
Mhm.
Now, was there a longer than normal gap between the last paycheck and the next paycheck? How long was it from the last weekly check to the first bi-weekly check? What
Yeah,
was the
there
time frame?
was, let's see, they got paid on a Wednesday, and then they didn't get paid the next Wednesday, they got paid, so there was 2 weeks, and then there was actually 2 days where there was a gap, because we went from paying on Wednesday also to paying on Friday. So there was that 2 weeks, and then there was the 2 days, the Thursday and the Friday, so there was, you know, a gap there where they had to wait a little while to get their paycheck. And that's where I had to do some explaining to show people that they were not actually getting less money. You know, they were just waiting longer for it in this situation until we get, you know, on the new cycle.
But we also did like an interim check where they got like a
Yeah, and
paycheck and a half.
we advanced them a half a week's pay to help them
Get through that
transition
long period.
into the next, so I advanced them a half a week's pay and then turn around and, you know, I deducted that from their first real bi-weekly check so that it, you know, it transitioned them into it, which I know, you know, half of a week didn't make a huge difference, but, you know, if I would have done a whole week, then it wouldn't have been any different than what they had done before, so there would have been, you know, no transitioning, so.
Messes up their minds.
Yes, so I had to do some explaining there, but
Yeah, there
really,
was
it's been good.
one person that was telling me got on June down, made an idiot out of herself. But, I don't even wanna, just, it was nothing. I mean, there's a whole lot of background that you gotta know to
Okay,
understand why.
okay.
But that was, you know, I just wanted to understand how it was done. That sounds perfectly fair. I mean, I don't think we could have done it any better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, and I didn't, you know, I got the advice from paychecks, you know, from the payroll service. I asked them, you know, how they do things, how do other people make the switch, and that's what everybody does, and so we followed suit.
So they actually got their regular weekly check plus another half week check, last check they got.
So on
Two
their
weeks,
last
2 days
Wednesday,
later.
instead of being paid for, you know, 40 hours, if they're a 40-hour employee, they got paid for 60. And then when they got their first bi-weekly check, then it was actually for 60 as well, because then we came back and deducted that 20 hours that they had been advanced. So
Yeah.
right now, everybody's cleaned and zeroed and, you know, everything's.
Now everything's.
And in a
Everything's
couple
straight.
months, they won't even remember they
They
were paid
won't.
weekly.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's, you know,
that's
it's just
exactly right.
one of those things.
Yeah.
that-
It's just a
But it
matter
would be good for us.
of them learning to use their money differently too.
Budget it
Well-
better.
You know, but yeah, if you moved them to once a month payroll, they
The
adjust.
truth of the matter is,
Yeah,
the people who are being paid weekly
weekly.
don't manage their money, are having problems. You give them a check every day, and they're gonna be asking you
Well,
for
that's
Friday's
exactly
check
my
on
thought.
Thursday.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
exactly my thought. It doesn't matter how
So,
often you get paid.
if you don't manage your money, you're gonna have problems no matter when you get paid and how frequently you're gonna
That's
get
right.
paid.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I look at it. And they were given plenty of notice to get their
Oh,
finances in
absolutely.
order
And
and to
then
be prepared for this. So there was no reason why. They
They've
had plenty
gone-
of months.
I read that, I
Cut
told
off
them, Linda
people-
showed me that, and I said, this,
Which is a great saving.
Yeah, cut our
It
payroll
is.
expenses in half,
Yeah.
saves for time,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Monday morning to doing that, so
Yeah.
we're pretty excited
And
about
we
that.
also, you know, made some other changes I think that the employees are happy with. When we started showing their leave time balances on their pay stubs, so they don't constantly have to call me and ask me.
Good.
So, yeah,
but
so
showing their what on the picture?
their leave balances, like their vacation
Oh.
time and
Their
sick
sick
time balance,
days
and yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Very
before, they
good.
would have to call me and ask me, or some of them tracked it themselves. But now it's right there in black and white, and so
For
that's
everybody.
been something that people have said they're happy with, so.
Great, perfect, yeah.
Yeah, good job.
When you do things like that, you think, why didn't we ever think of that before?
Yeah.
Any issues with the minutes?
No, I didn't see
No.
any personally.
Okay.
Other than it says we approved the June 1st minutes, which was just amended.
I know.
Okay.
You know what, maybe you
Well,
did that
Well-
one
ignore
too.
it. Yeah, ignore that. Ignore the fact that we did that this meeting. You weren't here.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't here, so you don't know that. That's okay,
Oh, that's all right, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
okay.
leave it alone.